my shows this week. What I was cooking and also showing some of the gremlins and stuff that I have, as well as I'm going to start working on the next gremlin. Oh, I have my headphones. Oh, I left my headphones. Do I have it? Oh, I got my headphones. I can put my headphones on. All right, let's see. Let me go ahead and see if are my headphones. Oh, put my headphones on. I put my gloves in my pocket. Didn't fall in the puddles. Ah, thank you, Jesus. You know, there's a dog around here. I was walking. I mean, goodness, the dog came right up to my face. It was like, oh my word. I'm so sure he's gonna bite my face off. But he's not here, so. Okay, so here we go. Turn my headphones on, make sure my headphones are actually able to be turned on. And then, so I'm gonna change the dynamic for you. So here we go. Alright, everybody, so I guess you can probably hear me even better now. So pretty much what's going on is that I am walking to my car. Alright, and so I just wanted to say, thank you so much for everybody who's been listening and watching my channel. Ever since I got monetized, I've been kind of really encouraged, just trying my best to kind of make more content for everybody. So I think that's what I'm going to do tonight, is I'm going to go drive a DoorDash. And so driving DoorDash for me has been like really good because I got a chance to make some money, quick money, as well as getting ready for the night markets in April. It's going to start soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I just want to say that pretty much I'm really excited about the fact that, you know, I have a wonderful family, my wife, my kids. They're so willing to help me with all the artwork and everything that we do, and because of that, you know, we're able to do so many things. I just want to say thank God so much for just how things are working in regards to, like, you know, just being able to show everybody different things. But today, I mean, today's been a kind of interesting day for a lot of people. One for which you have it where they talked about the bank situation that's going on. Now, that hasn't affected me at all yet because, you know, that's a Silicon Valley Bank. I don't know anything about that really, except that there's it got shut down or something. That was today. The other one is that I remember in 2008 with the whole bank crisis and stuff. But you know, what we should do is just pray for each other. You know, try your best to help each other out because, you know, you never know exactly how life turns. You know, one minute you have something, next minute you don't, and especially with the last couple of years about how life has been. And so, you know, yes, it's really raining, so I have to kind of have my umbrella up. Otherwise, it's going to rain around the camera. But for the most part, you can see better with the sky. It's a rainy night. So we put it back over top. So anyway, so what happens is, like, you know, just kind of, you got to pray for each other. Pray that, you know, we keep each other safe and keep looking out over our shoulder for each other to make sure the other person's taken care of. You know, one of the things I think about life is that it's like it's so brief. You know, I remember when all my kids were born. Because I was there for all of them when they were born, from my oldest son to my daughter, to my next daughter, and then my youngest son. Pretty much how I was there and I remember how when they all were born, they were all little gray little babies, you know, all gray and covered in you know, in fluid, you know, and covered in amniotic fluid because, you know, they were all born cesarean and everything. So when I was like looking and seeing them, it was so cool because they're small little things, you know. And now the kids are all big and they can talk and stuff, and it's really cool that they were, you know, artists. My kids are all artists. So I always put like a little link in my descriptions that you can actually follow their pages as well too, because that would be great. If you follow them, I'd really appreciate that, because one of the things is that their art and our art together, we are building like a family empire and trying to, you know, help, you know, to be able to get ourselves to a new place where we can, you know, live and have land and everything like that, because, you know, I have a background in farming, and so I was, when I went to school, I went to agriculture high school, and I was going to become a veterinarian. So what happened was I was learning about like plant science and animal science, and one of the many things that I had to do was I had to work with cows, because my thing, I wanted to work in the Bronx Zoo. I still wanted to work in the Bronx Zoo, and I would say if ever there was a chance, right, for me ever to do something that's really cool, like working as a veterinarian, would be to work in the zoo. And if I worked at the Bronx Zoo, I would have been able to. I wanted to work in the reptile house and work with all the lizards and the snakes and the crocodiles and everything. And I thought that was going to be really cool. But what happened for me that summer when I was going to get my internship was on a dairy farm instead of on in the Bronx Zoo. And I tried. Let me tell you, I tried to get into Bronx Zoo. I did. I talked to the people. I called ahead. I talked to the guy who had the internship before. I told him what should I do so I could get the internship so I could be at the Bronx Zoo. And then, you know, I ended up on a dairy farm. And I tell you, my life would probably have been different had I ended up on that the Bronx Zoo. But then again, I really liked how my life turned out, because one thing I learned when I was on the dairy farm was that you know, well, I learned a bunch of things, but I told you many times before in my other stories how it was like the veterinarian. He hated his job. He just hated it. He didn't like anything about it. He hated it. He said that no matter what you do, the animal's still gonna die, and that you're gonna be one putting the animal to sleep. And I was like, oh, that's so terrible, you know. But for the most part, though, when he said these things, it was he kind of gave me the eye opening. He says about how college is expensive and all that. But I mean, you get to see people happy with the animal that they have, you know. Because I have lizards, and I have praying mantis, and we have snails, and we have spiders for pets, you know. And we have a big bearded dragon lizard, you know. And so what happens is that, you know, we want those creatures to last as long as possible. You know, we have proper nutrition and all that. But you know, that's the sad thing about life. Because sometimes in life you don't really know the proper nutrition aspect ratio, you know? So what ends up happening, I remember where I park. You know, you get that weird moment where you forget where you park. Oh, that happened to us so many times. We've had a situation where I've forgotten where I parked, and we just circle the block, and we're like, oh goodness, we've forgotten where we parked. Anyway, so long story short, I have to go pretty much find where I'm going. But I was saying before, like how the lesson that I learned was that, you know, most things in medicine, they're not trying to get you better per se, but they kind of get you stuck on pills. I think that's the way our society is. It's kind of built on you know, the whole thing regarding the pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. You know what's weird? It's like the light behind my camera. Actually, no, it's just, what a cool pattern, you know? I just noticed there's a pattern. Okay, let's see, the pattern on my umbrella. Let's see if I can see it. Right here. Okay, it's a pattern umbrella. See that? It's like a Medusa or something. I don't know. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so I keep seeing it. I'm thinking, what is that pattern? You know? Ooh, goodness, deep puddle. Oh goodness, deep puddle. You know, if you step in a deep puddle, it's a long night for you when you're driving. You know, let me tell you, I have a wet foot. But for the most part, though, I don't know. It's really cool just to be able to talk to you and to let you know pretty much how things are going. I've had a long day of just putting stuff together, and I did a bunch of shots regarding the gremlins and things. I want to show you guys some of the gremlins specifically, but I'm going to put that probably on my Instagram. If you follow me on my Instagram, my Instagram is One Life Must Art. www.instagram.com/OneLifeMustArt. And so, with that, you get a chance to actually, you know, see some of my cool artwork and everything like that, as well as, you know, see some of the times we work together as a family as we were doing our art markets and stuff. So that's really cool. Yep. So the water didn't get into my shoes, so I'm cool. All right, so I'm almost in my car. See how far it is to get in my car? It's like, how many minutes? What is it? 8-minute walk? 8 minutes. I haven't gotten to my car yet. 8-minute walk to get to the car. I had forgotten where I parked. Oh, I know where I parked. Okay, I remember. I'm gonna get to the car real soon. And when I get to the car, I'm gonna start that car up. I'm gonna get warm. I'm gonna get driving. But for the most part, though, it's such a long walk. Oh my goodness. See, where I live is like, you know, this is like maybe like 10 blocks away from my house. Because sometimes, right, if you come home at a certain time, you get parking like right there. But if you don't come home at a certain time, you get parking far away. And so lately, we've been able to do some good driving, but we've gone so far away from where we need to be. So anyway, let's see, I'm gonna about to get to my car now, so I'm really happy about that. Got a couple more feet to go. So anyway, so we talk about some more stuff for you. So the dairy farm was very good. I learned a lot about cows and cattle. I learned about people. I learned about human beings. I learned that all people have issues, and that you can pretty much, you know, can solve a lot of problems just by talking things out. And sometimes, you know, people don't want to talk things out because it means you'll solve the problem, you know? Anyway, so, whew, wow, almost to the car, almost there. And so I gotta drive back to my house, and I'm gonna go pick up my daughter, because she's my driving buddy tonight. That'd be crazy. Doing a live video and get run over hit by a car. That would be totally horrible. Horrible for me, horrible for you, you know. Anyway, so, here we go. I finally got to the car. Okay, 10 minutes. Actually, a 10-minute video. Oh, wrong key. Goodness, I'll get in the car before my phone gets waterlogged. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay. All right. Okay. So. Here I am. Oh goodness. Okay. All right. Here I am. I'm in the. Woo! All right. So there you are. All right. Clean up your viewpoints because you can't really see me. Okay. There it is. That. Okay. Cool. Hello everybody. Okay. This is me. So now I'm in the car and I gotta start the car up and we're gonna do that. Turn off all the vents. Turn off things. All right. Woo! Woo! Okay, so here we are. Thank you, Jesus. You know, save highlights. There's a highlight. What's that? Oh no, the save highlight button does. Highlight saved to your channel as an unlisted video. Okay, that's pretty interesting. All right, let's see what else is there. What is that? Buttons. Okay, so you got mute microphone. All the different buttons are kind of learning when I'm doing this because I mean it was like I've only done a couple of live chats. In terms of like that was monetized. And I'm so happy for that. You don't understand what it means to me to be able to be monetized. It's like it's one of those things where you look and you're like thank God because every little bit helps. You know what I mean? Careful with that. Oh wow. Okay, so I am just getting ready. My button says, by the way, it says your government is lying to you. That's what my button says. It says your government is lying to you. Yes, I wear that button when I do DoorDash. And I wear a button all the time, actually, but for the most part, though. All right, so well, I guess we can keep talking, but I pretty much don't have much to say right now. And there's but I just want to say pretty much I'm going to be, just kind of like after 10 minutes, just want to say I'm getting this car warmed up right now, so just kind of, just I've been turning on the heat. I haven't done that yet because we just turned on the car, so the car took a couple minutes for it to warm up. But for the most part, there, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'd love to talk with you about anything. Send me any questions, send me anything, and I'd love to respond to your questions because it's pretty cool. So where I'm at, I'm located in Queens, New York, and I'm not too far from LaGuardia Airport. So that's where I'm located. Here's my seatbelt. Plug that sucker in. And so for the most part, though, it's like the car's just getting ready, and we are getting ready to go. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting day. They talked about the thing with Silicon Valley today, and that has been a big thing for me. Just thinking about that. Um, they talked about today I worked on a lot of the projects, and tomorrow I'm hoping to go to an event. There's an event tomorrow. I was invited by a friend of mine. I'm hoping to be able to go to that because it's always good to go out and do some different things. And tonight is just a special night in terms of like just driving. And so, some advice for door dashing. Well, rainy nights are really good. It's raining tonight, so it's a good night to go driving because if anything, today's a good night when you can go out and people don't want to get wet and stuff with the rain. So you can actually go out and make a lot of decent money tonight. I'm actually leaving later than I normally do. I usually leave around 7, and this right now is about 10, so I'm actually 3 hours later than I normally would have started. Um, it's different because, like, when you leave at a different time, you get different results. But also, I mean, yesterday I went out so early that it was, like, so much traffic and so many other dashers that were out. And so you want to kind of drive where there's not that many dashers, you know, because the competition is fierce in terms of, like, when there's other dashers, that means that there's a lot of people just kind of, like, watching and going to the same restaurant. But if you, for example, you go to a place, or the later at night you go, well, I mean, for me, I prefer the nighttime because it's easier to travel, especially in New York and on the weekends. Um, the weekends are actually the best time to drive. Actually, I think is Thursday. Monday and Thursdays are the best nights because Monday you come back from the weekend, and then Thursday it's before the Friday. Because Friday everybody goes out. Let's say it's been Friday, everybody goes out to drive today. So when everybody goes out to drive, you're kind of in competition with a lot of people. So that's something there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get going. So thing is, here I'm gonna go pick up my daughter at the house. So let the car start for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and just drive in, baby. So we got this. Go ahead and get this out of here. Let's get us out of here, shall we? My dad taught me how to drive. My brother-in-law taught me how to drive. Video games taught me how to drive. And then I worked in an insurance company for a number of years. And then I was a claims adjuster for car accidents. And one of the things I found out about car accidents is that most car accidents happen in the intersections and left turns. Those are the number two, one and number two. And most accidents you can walk away from. Some accidents you can't walk away from because somebody was driving way too fast. especially like in the rain now, you have a rain situation. You have to be slower than the rain because what happens if you are or the condition too fast for the condition, you become a hazard. You see, when it first starts raining, you have the road is very slick, and here I'm going to start driving, going to pick up my daughter. All right, so yeah. So what happens when I get to my daughter? I'm gonna actually shut off the camera and I'll call it quits for now. But I'm gonna keep talking until we get there. Okay. So there's a radio station I listen to. It's called 570 AM. The answer, not the answer. It's a 570 AM, and it's a guy by the name of Pastor Ernie Sanders, Ernie Sanders, and he's on the what's left. It's the radio, the Christian Resistance, and it's pretty cool. So it's a pretty cool conversation, just to be able to hear him. And he talks about a lot of different things. So he's really on point with stuff. So he's around 10 o'clock to 12. So my daughter and son and my wife and I, we listen to him around that time. And so we're able to listen to and hear much of his saying. Anyway, so for the most part, though, it has been really cool listening to. He's kind of on point with so many things. And so I would recommend you, if you get a chance to see what's right, what's left. This is he's gotten banned on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and all that. So you have to find him on his own webpage, for the most part. So, but for the most part, he's been a really cool person to kind of listen to and to hear. I would love to meet him. I'd love to meet him actually in real life. You know, pretty much King James only. Yeah. And so I remember when I was in Bible school getting trained, we had a thing where we'd run into people called the King James only. They were called the Ruckmanites. We call a guy by the name of Peter Ruckman, and he just totally just hated all the other translations of the Bible. And I come to understand the reason why that makes sense. But up until then, it was like he hated all the other versions of the Bible, and it was just like anything like he didn't like the New King James, he didn't like the NIV, he didn't like the ESV, the NASB. He didn't like any of the other ones, only the King James. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? That's pretty interesting. And so as I was going through life, I started understanding why the King James Bible is actually really cool. Is because the thous and the shalls and the ye's and the thines and all that stuff. Well, that stuff actually you remember it better. It's actually a distinction from the language you normally speak. So, for example, if you had a normal English conversation, you probably not remember it as much as thou shalt not, or thou shalt, or in the day of thine youth, or things like that. When you have those kind of passages, it's actually kind of cool because when you hear it, you remember it different. So it's like, it's a distinction. And we're supposed to be in the world but not of the world. So when you have that kind of distinction, where it's like you can actually hear the thines and the thous and the thy and thy shalt and thy will be done, on earth as in heaven. When you hear that, that's actually way better than just kind of hearing the regular English. And so I remember like a lot of the verses I studied when I was a kid. It was in the King James. So when you hear it again and they have a different language, it kind of rings differently. It's weird. But for the most part, though, it's like the world's gone crazy. Okay, the world has gone crazy completely, and in all kind of ways. Things that were one thing a couple years ago, now they're all different. And especially with this whole thing regarding what they did to us last 3 years. I mean, what they did to us, they really did this to us, and so we have to kind of really look out for each other in terms of making sure that our families are well taken care of, as well as the strangers taken care of, because it's just what happens to one of us happens kind of to all of us, and so that being said, red light. Well, that being said, you have it where we have to kind of look out and care for each other because it's like there are people out there just all they want to do is make money and experiment on us. But we have to look out for each other for the best interest of another person. So that's what really love is. Love is really just caring for another person. It says it's also this is in the Bible. Love is really a choice. It's a choice to love your neighbor. It's a choice to love your enemy. It's a choice to love your husband or your wife. It's a choice to love your children. It's like when things are not a choice, sometimes it's hard to deal with it in terms of love. But it's like sometimes, it's like I talk to my kids a lot. I said to them about like how in the scriptures there's a thing where when the kids get out of line, you talk to them and says, you think about it, God came down from heaven and with his finger he touched the tablets of stone, not the tablets of stone, and says, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long upon the earth. That's one of those things in the scripture that's like, that's right up there with thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor, which means thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's goods, your neighbor's, things or your possessions or their husband or their wife. Also it goes back to even the parts where it says, you should have no other gods before him, and have don't make a fake god, and do not take God's name in vain, and the Sabbath day. All the 10 Commandments, and it's like that's right up there. The one is honor your father and mother. It's one of the 10. And you start thinking about like how society kind of works out. You think about that. It's actually pretty interesting. That society, when you have these bankers and things, and they're robbing people and taking advantage of people and their kindness or their goodness, what ends up happening is it's a violation of trust. And so that's a violation, and it's clear cut. That's something we should not do. God commands us not to do that. And the other one too is like you have it where, you're faced with my daughter. Okay, so you're faced with the aspect of like where it's those things are written by by the Most High, and I know we can't keep it 100%, but one of the things that's really interesting about it is that by keeping it, right, by keeping it, what happens is like we're keeping some, we're trying to keep it. One, we see that how much of a sinners that we are, and that we need a savior, and two, it shows us that these are the laws that we will break, given the chance. It's almost like in us to covet and to steal from somebody else and to lie to each other and to commit adultery, and to dishonor our family, our mother and father, and to make fake idols and stuff. It's kind of like right up in there. People want to just go ahead and do that. So it's kind of built in. That's our sin nature. And what sin nature is missing the mark of God's perfection. So what happens, like when I was in Bible school, I learned that there are a lot of people who go to Bible school, not for the reasons you would think, to learn about the Bible, but they kind of go there for all kind of reasons, actually. And so, as a matter of fact, when you get there, you actually realize that you have to kind of weed out the people and find out who is what. Gaslight. All right, so find out who's what. So pretty much, here's my daughter. Daughter and I are gonna go door dashing tonight. And so, yeah, thanks, Abby. Okay. All right, cool. Your bag. All right, and so, okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm gonna cut the video here at this point because my daughter, I'm not gonna put her into the camera and all that. So unless of course she wants to go into it, but for the most part, oh, yeah, she's right there. And so what happens? She's the artist's daughter. She's the one who has written a couple. She's illustrated in the process of illustrating another book right now. And she has a couple books that are on Amazon. But for the most part, though, please follow her page. Her page is what's your page, Abby?
Guggenheim Studios.
Guggenheim Studios. It will be in the link after when I put it in the link together. But so we're gonna get going because I gotta switch out of this so I can go into the DoorDash app. So I just want to say thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out with me for 23 minutes. I wish you all the best. God bless you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely follow my kids' pages. If it's not, you don't see the link here on another previous video. I have the link already in the description. Okay. So God bless you, and I'll talk to you more another time. But I'm gonna go make some of that green paper. You know what I'm saying? So time to time to do some DoorDash. All right. So God bless you, and I wish you all the best. Have a good night. Okay, everybody. Until we meet again. All right, bye.